A hip-hop writer is a creator, composing understanding words of cultured brilliance, powering or rebalance of the elements equally. Pages of rejuvenated reaffirmation, simply the almighty leadership of insightful craft work that stands to build through any confrontation born to be. Yet his daily duty is as a journalist that questions properly and uses his ears to filter the real. And as the art decays by dilution, he concentrates the best again and again, exposing it in the print. Today's journalist and tomorrow's historian, he listens to share. Here is that necessary attempt executed again and again and again. This is the Power Right Show and S.STREET Media. This is your brother, the lone low life with the home-sewn garment, the Boricua with the build, the true and living God, stepping in score, Sunya Zala, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low. We're on S.STREET Media, the evolution of media, where every intrigue will have its own show, every incredible thought will have its own episode, and every timeless insight will be archived. And as I always say, this is about my element of hip-hop, the writer of art and science on music. That's how I describe it. And this is the only show in history on this hip-hop writer element that I, a veteran of over a quarter century, helped pioneer. Some of my work's out right now. I have I have a few books that's gonna come out soon. They're gonna be really, I think they'll be really fun. And what I have out now is the Reel of 2020 ebook. It is an ebook that I just quickly put together. It is in-depth, a complete 70-page analysis of the best musicians and artists in hip-hop music today, bracketed in a revolutionary system of ciphers that categorize the entire musical universe. So no like and dislike top 10 lists that leave out at least 50 records that should be in there, but really putting the best records in context with all the other great records that come out in a year. And I'm collecting hundreds of albums a year, you know? And these aren't even the crap ones that don't even get close to being here. So none of that stuff, on the radio, none of that stuff. They got their own lane, you know what I mean? No snitches, none of that stuff, you know what I mean? And then there's the filtered reel, essays from the invisible Renaissance. We all, I always tell you listeners, I call this era the invisible Renaissance. I started calling it that in 2012, you know what I mean? Start calling it 2012. Spit Gems, Fuck the Radio release party. That's when I thought of that. I was talking to Napoleon and he was talking my shit. I told him, he had said, what's my goal? And I said, my goal is to, I came back into this shit writing. From all that time, I wasn't writing. And I said, I'm just going to be the best. I want to show everybody I'm the best. Check fucking mark. Check mark. Done. But writing. But then I started to see that there were all these great MCs. I just got Kaz record. You know what I mean? I just got Kaz Grief Pedigree. I just had Reloaded. All this shit. Sean Price is at the peak. To me, the peak of his career was Mike Tyson. That peak right there. And you had to see Sean Price live in 2012 to know what I'm talking about. He's at a peak. Because the world realized he's a legend. You know what I mean? So I said, yo, this is like an invisible renaissance. I feel like I'm the only one writing about this shit. It was really my own vantage point because I had always called for years. For years, I've been calling the 2000s the dark ages. And that was my reality as a writer, but also all the bullshit that they were writing about or trying to make me write about. You know what I mean? So the filtered reel essays from the invisible renaissance really kind of gives an overview with a lot of the writings that I've written over the past 10 years, coupled with a real focus on the latest material up to date. And it really gives you a broad-based look at who are the greats, of this era. And there are a lot. I mean, it's so loaded that this is just a beginning book. So all those books can be, the filtered reel is on Amazon, but all my books can be gotten by emailing me, sunyez97@gmail.com, or you could just IG me at Sunyez or Sunyez7 on the Twitter. That's the number 7, SUNEZ. And I got you. I write a little note. I be writing fly shit, though. I write some shit on it. I don't just leave it, right? I tell you what I think of you, you know what I mean? And thank you, really write something in it, But also, I always tell everybody before I start this latest show, go back to our earlier shows. The last show, salute to BMR, Brilliant Man, Rebellion. Wow, they gave me a great build. Don Teak and Constant Flow. Such a great duo, such a great tandem to build with, and I was honored to be on their album. You know what I mean? And I was even more hyped that it was dope. You know what I mean? Like, as an album that was dope, right? You know, like you always had nightmare, like, yeah, it's a shitty album though. I'm glad I'm on it. You know, but no, they were great. And I had no worry about that really. I'm just fucking around. But they're great MCs though, and they're great. They're great humans. You know what I mean? They're great builders. You know, great boricuas. Also, my latest show with DJ Toshi on Classic Storm Radio. You know what I mean? We had a double. We had Neek the Exotic and Smiley the Ghetto Child though. So I got to be Vlad. You know, I got to ask, who shot you, Smiley? Who did the shooting? Do you still have the gun? Did you keep the bullet when you took it out? I didn't ask any of these questions. I basically asked him, I sold in. I didn't sell out. I sold in. I asked him about his music, you know what I mean? And how he's an inspiration and why his music means something. And I actually quoted lyrics that he had, though. I actually heard the fucking thing, you know? So salute to Smiley the Ghetto Child, you know what I mean? One of my favorite live performers. If you have the chance to watch Smiley the Ghetto Child live, watch him, though, because he rhymes like he broke out of someplace to go tell you this shit. You know what I mean? Like, he rhymes like that, though. We saw him live, and me and C. Ray's Walls, Peace to the God, and we was looking at how he was moving, and we was like, yo, he's doing like certain moves and shit. We was naming like the moves, like they actually look like kung fu moves, and that's how intense he was, you know what I mean? And of course, Neek the Exotic, you know, the master of inflection, you know, master of that pause, you know, like he does that pause thing that he does, you know what I mean? And we really went in detail explaining that, but salute to DJ Toshi, man. Salute to DJ Toshi. He gets me a lot of interviews that I never got when these magazines were fronting on me. You know what I'm saying? And he's great. When you want to know somebody that really does it out of love is DJ Toshi, you know? But last thing but not least, though, if you are in the New York City area or if you are in the world, so that includes everybody, I am teaching an introductory Kung Fu training. I call it Concentrated Supremacy. That name came up because I was joking with Rim, though, because we were both short, though. So I answered back, though. We're not short. We're just Concentrated Supremacy. But I called the program Concentrated Supremacy because I wanted to give people that want to be a martial artist or people that are martial artists and feel like there are missing parts or something, like kind of an overview to get them into the lifestyle, to show them like what they would be looking for, and really to tune that up, because a lot of people learn martial arts though, but they don't know how to use none of it. None of it is applicable. It's not really, I wouldn't do that shit in a fight. You know what I mean? Like they got that kind of shit. You know what I mean? This stuff I'm trying to keep you alive. You know what I mean? To keep you alive and make it a culture where it enhances you. You know what I mean? Where the preparation is the performance. You know. So I'm doing that in the New York City area. If you're in Staten Island or if you're in New York City, Harlem, if you can make it there, you know, you email me, sunyas97@gmail.com, or get at me on the Instagram, IG Sunyas, or Twitter at Sunyas7. But I'm also doing Zoom, and that's worked out with a lot of people that live out of state and everything like that, you know, so they've actually learned and stuff, you know. So if you never got like that training like that, this is an introduction for that. So, you know, the rates are great, and it comes with the entire culture. So there's work to do outside of that Zoom training that I continue to keep up with you. So all that being said, though, let's go into the real depth of what we're doing here. You know what I mean? I built with this MC that I have here, and he's a personal favorite, though. You know what I mean? I find moments to listen to him. He's not background music, though. I pick when I'm going to listen to him. You know, that type of MC. I want to sit down and enjoy it, see the details, listen to his voice. He has one of the great voices in hip hop. And we do have an archive interview back in 2019 when we first built DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio, which is not too far from where we're at here in S.STREET Media Studios. You know what I mean? It's all here. There's so much hip hop concentration here too, right? There's Concentrated Supremacy here too. And the real theme that I have for this particular interview, though, is that with the short works that Rasheed Chappell has released since I last saw him, though, is no longer a really good MC or a really great MC that I think he's great. But I consider Rasheed Chappell to be one of the essential MCs of this era. And that means that I think that if you don't have them in your collection, if you're not collecting them, then that means that your collection is trash. This is what I personally think. I also think that when I say someone is an essential MC, is that if you collect a broad base of hip hop over the years, meaning you go back to the 90s, to the 80s, to the 2000s, Rasheed matches up. These records that he releases could come out anytime, any era. Pick a date, you know what I mean? Put them in your DeLorean, and they'll work out. They'll work out. And that's why we're here, Rasheed. You know what I mean? It's great to have you again building, you know what I mean?
Happy to be here, man. That's very humbling coming from you, bro.
Oh, man, you know, I spend a lot of time listening, and there's so many things that I want to get into, and I'm literally going to use these 2 projects to get into the detail of all of these questions.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times that I do, and listeners of DJ Toshi's Classic Storm Radio, this is my show, Power Right Show, know that I'm also trying to tell the listener like what they should be listening for, you know, some of the dope stuff. You know what I mean? It's almost like we have the chance to rewind and reminisce and look at these parts here and just look at how dope the moves were. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And how, you know, those moves were. And sometimes, you know, they don't see the ball handling that you have, Rasheed, on the track. You know what I mean? They don't always see that. But a quick rewind, because I think that you released what I said in my Reel of 2020 book was one of the Album of the Year candidates, if you could have that, because there's so much work. I don't even know what that means anymore. Sure. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people. If you pick an Album of the Year, what does that mean? Because it's not really sale-based.
Yeah.
There's no barometers and stuff like that. And I think we have more peaks of diversity now.
True.
So, like, there's so many different records, you know? But I said this. Look what I said this about your record, Sinners and Saints, with Buck Wild. The Sage, Buck Wild.
Yes, absolutely.
The Sage, because when you're with Buck Wild, all you have to do is be quiet, though. You don't have to do anything. Yeah, you just have to be quiet, though. He's going to say something that you're like, yo, I took that home with me. And I'm like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I said about the Sinners and Saints record, I said an overwhelming presence that overtakes subtly in just a few takes. So many contradictions in Rasheed's dominance. You understand the glory of the righteous even as his verses are chiseled into a canvas in the street capers that led to fiscal treasures in flesh streets. But the women were just walking by and the money was just a passerby. The camera keeps panning verse to verse, and all that remains are the depths of Rasheed's qualitative word of ideals and ethos, his high pitch in such an articulate, deep tone and mastered temperament of tempo, and some of the best music you'll hear in any era. How can I accumulate more bias in favor of Rasheed? that's I literally wrote that in the book, because I was like, what the, you know? It's just that the way I want to hear a record is the way that you make records, you know what I'm saying? And when you made Sinners and Saints, you know what I mean? And just some ideas, I never got to talk to you about Sinners and Saints. I think that out of all the MCs out there, I think you're one of the MCs that really give a great interview. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
No
pressure.
They really have. Damn it, you will perform here.
Okay.
That's not why I'm saying that, though. No. Actually, the pressure's on me, because then I was like, oh, he said there's good shit here. He said good shit there. You know what I'm saying?
I got some good shit for you.
No.
I got some good shit.
Even if you said the same shit, it'd be dope. But the thing about it, though, when you look past, and you had some great insights about making Sinners and Saints, great stories on the way with Buck Wild. But what intrigued me about doing Sinners and Saints and thinking about Buck Wild, I got to interview him for DJ Toshi's Classic Stone Radio, listening to him talk at the video shoot, and we'll talk about that later. What is it that, I know that there's more emceeing you learned after you did Sinners and Saints. So when you look at emceeing, though, what was the main thing that you said, like, I have to focus on this more after you did Sinners and Saints?
It's so funny as you say that, because I was reading something today where it talks. It was actually Mike Tyson was talking about it today, about how we get caught where we feel like we can't learn anymore, right? And that's like almost like it stops your greatness. So when we were recording the record, the Blue Hood. Right, so it has no drums in it, right? So it's kind of like this very ominous foreboding type of just music that Buck put together. And so I remember Buck coming to the booth, and we have recorded. It may have been the last song that we recorded for the album, but he never, really poked or prodded. He kind of let me do my thing, and he came to the booth and he was like, "Yo, like I've recorded Big, I've recorded OC. Like you got to get this one right. Like you have to get this one right. Like this is the song you have to get right."
Wait, he actually said that.
Like, absolutely. Like as close as we are right now. And he's like, you got to get this one right. He's like, this could be one of those records for you. He's like, because I seen it happen.
Wow.
And he's like, if you do it right, like it could be. And I think we executed it correctly. And just listening to Buck talk, and like he has a real love for the culture as a whole. He comes from an era where it was as competitive. It was as many different people to pick from that were dope that we have now, but it was kind of like a concentrated Supremacy where he got to work with the Nas's. He's only one of two that did Nas, J, and Big, so he was able to do that. He was able to just impart just a lot of the stuff that he learned, and I listen to everything. I'm a sponge, so it was a dope experience.
Yeah, I said it because Buck Wild, it seems like right at any moment, he'll go back in retrospect and come up with a new insight that he just thought about right on the spot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's intriguing to listen to. You know what I'm saying? It's intriguing to listen to. You know what I mean? But that Blue Hood record was a powerful one though, because you really went in the mindset. Yeah. Of the pig.
I don't listen to that record actually. like after I recorded it, I didn't listen to that record. Like music is like real weird to me. Like my favorite song is my next one, and I remember like that whole process. I knew when I heard the beat where I wanted to go, but I just didn't know how to execute it. So we did a couple songs in the interim, and then when we got back to okay, this is like the last song, I just figured it out where I wanted the story to go, and it was traumatic because I had to be, like you said, in the mindset of thinking when they're looking at me. So it was a heavy song. That's why I don't really like listen to it too much now.
No, I hear you. That was a great song.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? And just a great album. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
But again, I wanted to focus just on this year. You know what I'm saying? And I say this, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. Last year into 2020. It was a flood like no other year in music, and it kind of made hip hop, to me in general, I'm talking about in generalizing, not individuals, but in general, it made hip hop feel important. Like, wow, they can catalog and chronicle something.
Okay.
But I felt like in my most critical phase, 2020 had great records chronicling stuff, but it seems like 2020, it's also showing the impairment that a lot of hip hop doesn't really critique anymore. It doesn't critique the times as well. It's crossed itself over.
Okay.
It doesn't always say things that go against the bag, that go against this, that challenge this.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking about vaccines, which is a big deal, you know what I'm saying? But no one's really challenging the times, you know what I mean? Yeah. They'll chronicle it, but they don't challenge it. In a lot of your records, you do that, you know what I'm saying? But I want to start off with working on the Midnight Sunday song.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you made a video for that though. You was working with Peter Rosenberg, one of the few guys in the commercial sphere that actually will find like quality. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not gonna say that he gets everybody, but what's more important is that everybody that you get is quality.
Yeah.
And we could say that his percentage is high. In that we can't say that. Wow, he propped up a guy that was really trash, though. You know what I mean? Right? Like,
he got some pretty good draft picks.
Yeah, so we could do all the things. Oh, he's the white guy up there and this and that. But really, honestly, he doesn't put anybody on the pedestal that's whack.
Yeah.
So that hasn't been the case. So like, wow, yeah, you really struck out with that one, Rosenberg.
You missed those last 5. Nah, he's been good. Yeah. His batting average is good.
Right. So if that's the case, so like other guys have more hits, but they're like it's not the same thing. But there was so many lines though, and this one I'm just highlighting it because the lines. I'm the author. The paint you get your picture from. You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
It's just crazy, the lines like that. But tell me about that last verse though, because there's only one guy that made a verse that was similar to like that, where you realized that you just did something horrible to someone
Yeah.
you were with though. And that reminded me of the Immortal Technique verse that he
Okay.
had. You know what I mean? Way back, that was in the volume 1, Revolutionary volume 1. It was, you know what I mean? But tell me about that second verse, and why. I want to know, why would you attach it to this song though? You know what I'm saying? Because it does. It made sense, but it doesn't have to be. Because in this one though, it's about you and placing yourself as how dope you are. And then you had that second verse, and I was like, wow, it went from, a lot of guys don't go micro to macro like that, in that kind of way. You know what I'm saying?
I just wanted, so part of being dope is, I could say I'm dope, but then you have to prove it, right? So how do you prove it? So how do you take a verse like the first verse, which is kind of braggadocio, MC bravado, and then just go a complete 180 and show them that you have diversity to stay in pocket, to stay on cue, on cadence and everything, and take it someplace else. And for me, I listen to the music, and the music dictates to me what I'm going to say. I didn't have any preconceived idea as to what I was going to write. And, I'm just listening to it, and I'm like, okay, like, what would I want to hear, as an artist? Like, what moves me as an artist? So I've always been, I never thought I had the best flow. I never thought I had the best voice. I just said, I got these words, though. I can describe, I can be descriptive, and I lived a lot of things. So if I'm able to take my life experiences and put them in a way that evokes the same feeling that you hear or that you feel when Aretha Franklin hums, not even sings, just hums. If I can get that, then I'll be okay. So with that particular verse, it literally just came to me. Like, I was sitting there and I was just recalling some things that have happened in life, and 15, 20 minutes later, the verse came out.
With this project, did Rosenberg ask for like particular things, or he was just like, I just want a song from you?
He actually initially asked for a verse, and then he hit me back and was like, you know what, give me 2. And the funny thing about the song is he didn't tell us who the producers were. Like, I didn't know who had produced the track until after the fact. And so when I sent it back to him, he was excited. He was like, yo, like, this came out better than, I thought it was going to be dope, but it came out better than I thought it was. And by the way, Buckwild produced it.
Right. That's like, it's funny.
Yeah, I was like, wow, like, that's crazy. And just coming off the project with Buck, and for that to come out.
So it's like you had a blind date with Buckwild in the booth.
Yeah.
And you scored in that one too.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. What's that song? The Margarita. If you like margaritas, where they meet up, they put the ad in the personals and they answer it to each other. I forget the name of the song.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. But and that's definitely one of my favorite songs in that. That was a strong album though. A very strong album. A lot of great songs on that album. You know what I mean? And I think it is a good, if you're trying to learn about the best that is out there, that is a good primer album.
Yeah, I've met people who've come like, yo, I heard about you from that album.
Yeah.
So I'm 10 years in, and they heard about me from that album.
Yeah, which makes sense though, because people are so behind and stuff. You know what I mean? Now let's get into the first work that you released this year was 15 Minutes in Queens, right?
Yes.
Right? And that EP, right? And I'm going to go from where my experience starts with it. You know? It starts with the video that you did.
Reflections.
For Reflections,
Okay.
And I was, I would say I was honored by the text. But what I found intriguing about this is the intriguement. That's Raekwon word.
Yeah,
I made
yeah.
Raekwon
Just
word.
make it up.
In honor of Raekwon, though. I love when he does that shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's the intriguement. The thing about Rasheed Chappell, right, is that he shows respect and invites you to the thing. You know what I'm saying? We go over there, and it's almost like you selected these individuals out of the respect you have for them, because not just random people in this video.
Well, that's a fact.
And like, yo, hey, look, you've got some good clothes on. Come on in here, and just like, just stand there. I need extras. But it was people that you respect and you felt need to be in the video. So that was the greatest honor. But what was crazy is that all of us, though, didn't know of each other or didn't meet each other officially. So people that I was eventually going to go, because a lot of times I don't set off the initiation with someone unless I'm ready to interview them.
Okay.
So like Spanish Ran, he was on the list that I have for a long time because everything he was doing with everybody was dope. And I already know, I've been knowing the God Sauce Heist for mad long and Ty the Dale, you know what I mean? So I was like, you know, Spanish Ran, whatever he does, the guys are good, right?
Okay.
But I didn't know Blue like that. St. Chris and Arkin, I didn't know them, and it was as amazing as you said. Their album, right? And other people showed up, you know, as it went along, like UFO Feeve, and I had just interviewed UFO Feeve. And by the way, you know, I make this note, you know, like UFO Feeve, you know, he's just like, they use the twin shit, and I had this thing because people was asking me, I never say twin to anybody. It's a slang I don't use.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason is because I have an actual twin.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have an actual twin brother, though. So I feel funny telling somebody twin.
I have one.
You know, because it's like that love I have for him.
Yeah.
It's for him. So nobody else is going to get called twin.
You.
Even though I see you. I see
you.
You know what I'm saying? I see you A-alike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, this is a sidebar. You know what I mean? But all these great guys. Buck Wild was there. I love seeing Buck Wild building with Spanish Ran most of that night. It was so dope. You know what I mean? And to be in a fly on the wall, to see a great young producer learning from a legend, it was just and they had built many times before. So it was almost like he was seeing Mr. Miyagi again. Absolutely. You know, the way Spanish Ran was. He was like he was just doing the knowledge, and you know, it was awesome. But I think the most telling thing about these relationships was I've been doing hip hop so long that I knew, you know, I've known Tim Hotep for years.
Okay.
And he did the show with Sucio Smash and everything when they took over for Bobito. Mm-hmm. But I never met Sucio. And being like, you know, one of the greats Boricua DJs, you know, ever to parade this music and through the dark ages. You know, he did it through the dark ages, which counts for me as a lot. It was just great to meet him. You know what I'm saying? And give him that respect. Yeah. Like, you know, and just that. But the vibe was so dope. You know what I'm saying? So like when we were walking in there and we were talking, you know, had that vibe and, you know, and some of by the third time you were doing it, I already wanted to like do some Kung Fu already because I was getting hyped. Yeah. You know? But I spent most of my time watching New Vegas not get killed in the street.
Yeah, not get hit by a car.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because that was bad daring.
Yeah, absolutely. On Northern Boulevard.
But tell me, in this thing, what was in the general reasoning of this? Because I know you had your reasoning. What was your reasoning behind the video? What you wanted to do with that?
The concept of the album pretty much dictated the video. So, you know, it literally started from me and Rec doing an album together that you're aware of. Mm-hmm. And then in the process of finishing that album, knocking out a bunch of features. And at the same time, Rec is giving me beats, but I'm going over there to do features. I'm just knocking out features. I just want to knock these features out. And then I'm like, put on one of the beats that you sent me. I let's do something. And we did 2 records that night. Then we went back. Let's say that was a Monday. I went back on Wednesday, and I did another 2. And I was like, okay, I know what this is going to be. And so almost traditionally, after the studio session, we would go to Mama's, right? That was like, okay, job well done. Let's go, you know, treat ourselves to Mama's empanadas. So that's what the video took place. And one of the things that you said, like, I want to be mentioned in this culture. Like, I don't want there to be a space in this culture where my name isn't mentioned, right? So one of the things that was so dope about that night for me is I've never done a song with Blue. I had never done a song with St. Chris. I had never done a song with Arkin. I had never done a song with Big French. Right. But these are people that I like their stuff. So it's not about, yo, we've done stuff together, or yo, like you're on my project, I'm on yours. No, these are people that I genuinely think are dope. So come rock with me, right? Come see how I get down. Me and Feeve have never worked. Well, we've worked since, but we had never worked.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, yo, I'm inviting you out because I think you're dope, and I think that's missed, right? So the relationship is, you know, when I was rocking with Kenny, seeing him have these relationships with people that he didn't have songs with. Like, I never heard him want a song with Bismarck. Rest in peace to Biz. But that was his man. right? I never seen him have a song with Fat Joe, but that's his man, right? So come show love, right? I'll show love to you, you show love to me, and so it was genuine, and it was just dope watching, because the story can't get told without Rand saying, "Oh yeah, I was building with Buck at Rasheed's video shoot of and Buck didn't produce that record." Right, it was a whole different producer produced the record, but Buck is there showing love for me. So it was just a dope experience. Like I like stuff like that. Like the backstory of stuff is almost better than the songs for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I after when I'm in the ciphers like that, as a journalist, as a historian, I stopped talking.
And gotta
I
observe
was just
it.
like doing the knowledge, the different ciphers, listening to what Big French was saying. And I was like, oh yeah, oh shit. And the stories were amazing. It was dope. It was dope. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody that was there.
Absolutely.
You know what
Salute to my man Math that came down from Syracuse.
Wow.
Right? To hop in the video. Like, come on. Like, that's real.
Yeah, it was dope. It was dope. You know what I mean? And I get to mean mug in the video and shit like that.
You
so
did. You did. That's the most viewed part of the video. Like when I do the analytics, it like that gets the highest amount of view, the longest view time.
Yeah. I was ready though. Because after a while hearing Reflections a couple of times though, right? I was like, no, now we have to do some fighting. You know what I mean? You know, you said lost count of all the niggas that say they ain't fold when the pressure applied, all of the niggas told. It's the mold that I come from that made me the man that y'all run from. Oh man, after the third time hearing that, I'm like,
let's make them run. Nah, I mean that's true. That's true. That was
chase somebody down.
Come here, my man. Run that way. What?
Right. But yeah, and they was where we were at in the Strip in Queens and shit like that. There was a lot of niggas playing reggaeton, so I would have happily made something.
You wouldn't have had a problem with that at all.
In my little Nems invitation, I'd be like, "Bing bong," But but yeah, it's such a reflective, intimate album. You know what I'm saying? And all the songs are like that, and yet all the songs come off differently. The other song that uses such good footage and reflips it was the Walk Amongst the Gods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I was happy about that because then the picture with me and you and Jay Cyanide, not only did it come out in the video, but it came out because the lyrics are coming out on the screen, and it came out where it said, "And I did it all independent."
Yes.
And I was like, us three are independent.
Absolutely.
We did this whole career independent.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? My books, my shows, who I work with, we're all independent. And I was like, and by the way, Jay Cyanide was there. I love Jay Cyanide.
Yeah, forgot about Jay. Shout out to Jay.
One of the best albums of the years with Kev Brown. And I had just interviewed him earlier, and we was building and just continuing to build. One of the livest MCs. Everything he does is live, right? It makes you want to break dance. Like, right? He makes records that make you want to b-boy. Like, he's really that hype. But the lines here, the lines, more than just talk, I walk amongst the gods, nigga, no facade, nigga, who I be, tired of all this crown talk, but I entertain a circus, let you clowns talk, Queens, New York. I did no justice to that. But that's the way the song starts, and it's the cadence. It's where you take your pauses, though, that always intrigues me. The space that you leave in the record always reminds me of the Miles Davis thing. Miles Davis always talks about the silences it's where you take the silence. And if you listen to Miles Davis ballads especially, you hear it easy on the ballads, maybe not on the faster records, right? But it's where, like Blue and Green or other songs like It Never Entered My Mind, like he'll let that piano go, but you think he's gonna start there, but it's where he starts, and it's just like sublime. That use of that silence. So.
If I were to allow my rap ego to like run wild, right?
Yes, this is what I'm expecting.
I would say a lot of people, when they don't rhyme with drums, do it wrong. Right? So it's not about just throwing words on top of words on top. No, let it breathe. Right? So the thing that gives it the impact, right, is the thing that made the Jordan's last shot as a Bull so dope was how he just hung his hand there.
Yeah.
He could have put it down. He'd done it a million times, right? But you gotta let it hang there sometimes, right? So,
but he had the son, Brian Russell, completely.
At the same time.
Yeah.
At the same time, like it was
Like, I did it
all in
again
unity,
on you.
all in concert, right? Like this is not a fluke. Remember last series that we won?
Yeah.
That was you too. So it's about like you said, finding that breath, and it's just like, like there's a line where I say, just pose for this picture, nigga. And be happy and be grateful that I took it with you. Right.
Yes.
This whole game is fickle, nigga, being led by these Simon Says simple niggas. Put down a dime for nickel niggas because it looked bigger. Right. And this is the mindset, right? So people, I see them running around, and there's a difference between being busy and being productive. Right. So you can be busy, but that doesn't mean you're being productive. So I see a lot of people putting out a lot of content, and I've always been a quality over quantity guy. Like I don't want my name attached to anything that isn't quality. Right. So even the people that I ask to come, I think what they put out is quality. Right. So that was very important to me. And with this project being only 15 minutes long, if this was going to be someone's first time hearing me, I wanted them to get a clear picture of how well-rounded of a human being I am.
It's interesting that you said that, because I felt like it was a great introduction to you, because a lot of great intro albums are declarative, and this one is very declarative. You know what I mean? But it's also introspective. It goes into that. You know what I mean? And it's just crazy. Let me just throw some shit out there. That part where you said, and I did it all independent, from the Hot 9 to Shade 45, Central Park Summer Stage debuted in 09. Wow. The wows that you do are fucking crazy, though.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, you see?
Because it's real. It's real.
It's got like this little rasp in it. It's like, wow. Like, and I'm like, I didn't live that shit. I'm going like, woo, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I didn't remember shit. That's not my fucking life. I was like, whoa, yeah, that was great, man, Rasheed. Yeah. I didn't live any of this shit. In some respects, I feel I do, because I'm spending so much time chronicling people, so your successes feel like mine too. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it's supposed to be about, though.
And that's what I love about what I'm doing. And like I was walking with this record with you. You know what I mean? Like I was loving it the way you did it. And like you said, oh, wow, you did that, wow, and you said I'm like a decade in and still with the shits, just to say when. Shit started with the love, then money became a mistress. Success created distance. And then that's where you did the pause. Yeah. I wrote, pause here between my niggas for real. And it's like, who does that? Like, you showed us the distance. It reminded me.
I gave you. Come on.
You showed us the distance. It's like that song. I always tell people, like, what do they mean by that? It's like when Ghostface in the song The Sun, when he goes, the sun will make you do like this. It's a record. You can't see him though, but we all know that he squinted.
Yes.
You know, like
listen, Lord Finesse told me years ago, right? He said this to me. He said, when you're making music, you're either talking to a people or for people. And if you're doing it good, you're doing both at the same time. Right? So I'm trying to put you right here with me. I remember there's a song that I did years ago. I might even I might reflip it, but I said, like, if you listen close, you can smell a piss on the stairs, right? If you listen close enough, right? Like, so my whole thing is like, this music is such a feeling, right? When it literally enters you through your ears and it vibrates through your whole body. So, you feel what I'm talking about, right? So when I say, money created distance between my niggas who real, another pause, and my niggas who ain't, smell the faints and the jealousy is all in the air. Anytime I step out, niggas all in my ear, telling me they up next when I'm already there, right? So just pose for this picture, nigga, right? You know what I mean? Because I like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like conversations that I have with myself, right? Because it's like, yeah, I understand, like, we all trying to get somewhere, but yo, we here together right now. So all that other shit, just pose for this picture, because all this shit is like smoke and mirrors anyway. Especially when I get to the line where I talk about, they put down a dime for a nickel. So the dime is the genuine love, right? But that looks bigger, looks brighter. So they run to that side, and you come to find out, damn, like, it's not what I thought it was, So that's just my take on it.
Jules, I see it. It just expert stuff. All due respect. I wrote here perfect syllabic structure, timing and tempo, the pause and the break beat. See, the pauses in the break beat, the break has its own deliberate pause in it. You know what I'm saying? So I have to ask, was it arranged or were you rhyming like that?
I rhymed like that.
I'm confirming. So that way I can look at the camera and say, that's fucking nuts what you did there. If you're really listening to what you did, because a lot of records now, and they're good records. Sometimes not everybody can perform the record. We're happy that they just can make a great record.
Yeah.
They may not be able to perform it, so they make things that they can't perform, right? That would be me. Don't ask me to perform all the shit I've said, because I said some shit that I can't say all the shit, you know what I mean? But the expertness, in all due respect, to have a breakbeat that's deliberately pausing and still be on the pause. So that pocket, like me and my producer were talking about off air, we have these great conversations off air, you know what I mean? It's almost like that was part of the pocket. Just master stuff. I don't know what to say. I'm fucking.
I don't know how to.
You know?
I've been doing it so long, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm 100,000 hours in. It just, you feel it,
Yeah.
right? The mute, like, and I try not to explain it, right? I try not to think too heavy on it. I just let the music. I'm a vessel, right? I'm never gonna take credit for what comes through me, just how I apply it, because I put the time into the application. But what actually comes through me, I have no control over that, right? Except I gotta make myself open to it. So when listening to the record and how the beat is flowing, you know, it's like, you know, the first line, with all due respect, you niggas don't deserve none. Yeah, I'm on one, second win, third run. Yo, Hill, go ahead and burn something and put the stink in the air. Promise my first drink will be up in the lair. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke. So like, we get a lair, fucking pour me a scotch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm drinking that day. But it's just like, just finding the rhythm and the cadence and just, you know, letting your voice be an instrument. That's, like I said, I never thought I had a good voice until maybe, I don't know, maybe like 8 years ago. And then when I really, yeah, absolutely. I think Memphis Bleak has one of the best voices ever. Like, I was like, if I had Bleak's voice, oh my God. Like,
really, all the guys, that's the guy.
Fucking love. Nas has a great voice.
Yeah, definitely.
Who else?
I mean, I think of most of it. We always think of the extreme, Jizz's voice.
Fuck.
Obviously, Sadat X has.
Yes. But X, I could kind of like go X. I could kind of go there with the high pitch. But like the people who had like the bass in their voice,
right,
like Guru, like shit, like you said, Guru, like shit like that. That was like, oh man, like damn.
Yeah.
Like I want like Paris from PM, like EPMD.
Oh yeah, great voice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, like Rakim. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't have a voice like that. But once I learned how to use my voice, like it was like, okay, I know where to go. So I spend probably about 50% of the time figuring out what my tone is going to be, as well as what I'm going to say, right? Because the tone to me makes the record at this point. Because I could play you shit where I was just same tempo, same energy every record, but once I learned how to calm down and like breathe and let your voice, like, wow, you know what I mean?
It's something about this era too, because I think that every era has an advance. If the ever is quality in this era is quality, it has an advancement. And I liken a lot of it to jazz because there's so much time. So as a music historian, I can use those easier. I can use jazz easier than I can use like other genres. And there was more records recorded. So like, let's say I could do it with soul music, but there aren't that many records recorded. You know, people's careers dipped and then they weren't allowed to record again or couldn't. But now with jazz, they found ways to record.
That's a fact. They went overseas.
So the recording is there. And it's a lot like the bebop to the hard bop to the modal. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of modal vibe in this era where it's slowed down. So now the details and the rhythms come in other places. You know what I'm saying? And I say that you can match up any era, but I don't know if you come out in any other era. Like it's a development that needs to hear all the other things that ever happened.
That's spot on, because I think I had to have all of that as my blueprint in order for me to do what I do. And it's funny that you say that, because one of the MCs that's like a big brother to me that I truly respect, OC, has said to me on several occasions, he was like, yo, you would have been a problem in 1995, 1992, 87. Like, it's like, you know, and I just, that's so humbling, because like, I love this shit. So there's nothing else I was put here to do. Not to be a father, not to be a husband, nothing else I was put here to do but to do this. Now I can do those things, but I don't know how effective I'm going to be, because this is, this is, and that's the truth. Right. And this is why, these records are so personal, and it kind of touches on that because this is it. Like, you know, I wasn't, this is it.
Let's touch on that intimacy of the record, because the beautiful art, My Tortured Soul, is a beautiful song.
Thank you.
You know, the struggles of being an artist. You know, I have something, you know, to be the type of journalist where I could write what I wanted, I had to become an artist. And then to be what I say the show is about, what I do, I felt like it couldn't be an element if I didn't make it creative. Mm-hmm. You know, we talked about that. You know, I say that all the time on the air. And I think that's what makes me understand the music in a different way too, because I have to survive in it almost like an artist too. I have to make product. I have to make it creative. I have to do stuff too. And a lot of artists don't really show that struggle of the artist, because even if you're successful, right? Even you rhyme it as if you're successful, there's always the struggle that you always have to keep creating. And it's like, you're not getting the product. You have to keep molding it out of you. And that could be very draining.
Yeah.
You know, that could be very draining and stuff. You know what I mean? And this concept of the tortured soul, you know what I'm saying? Where you even say later on Seance, so, right? Where you say the price of art is a tortured soul. You know what I'm saying? Why continue to make this then? Because I'm just saying, like, someone might have the gift to say other things. Like you right now, the skill level, you could make fun of records and complete them and make them sound good, and you don't have to give yourself that torment. And I'm just throwing that out there. Why does this have to be, you know, this intimate? And then we get the thing where, like, people, it often feels like people don't really care a lot of times about the depth of what people are sharing, especially black folk.
True.
You know?
I mean, I made a decision, I guess, when I chose my rap name to be my name, right? Rasheed Chappell. So there's no buffer between the man and the art. So you're gonna get me. And it's cathartic, you know, it's releasing shit that went on early in life and things that I still go through that I haven't expressed to the people that I need to express it to. So when I get to just, you know, let it go, you know, just like that sigh I just took, it feels like that. You know, it truly feels like that. But the music, like I'm trying to think of something that you said earlier that I had a thought about that I don't know. Like I can't think of what I would be doing if it wasn't this, because I've had opportunities. I've had, you know, offers from labels that was like, yo, this is dope if you just change this, but then it wouldn't be me anymore. So I don't even know what that would sound like, you know. And part of the process, like with the 15 Minutes in Queens project did for me was it allowed me really to put down a lot of baggage, right? It allowed me to put down a lot of shit, like even I think at the end of that record where I'm talking about my dad that's fighting cancer right now.
Yes.
Right. So he and I, that was my hero, like fucking Superman. No, my dad, you know what I mean? And he got caught up with crack, cocaine, heroin and shit like that. And to watch your fucking hero, you know, like meet his kryptonite and his kryptonite is winning. It was crazy. Like it was crazy. And the distance that formed between my father and I, and my mother and I, it caused me to do a lot of shit, you know, that I probably had I had better guidance, definitely wouldn't have done it. But they were like that. Like just imagine being 12 years old and saying to yourself every day that this could be the day that one or both of them is dead. And so you live in that life, right? So I'm about 21 years old when I think my dad got clean about 22 years old. So just thinking any day, right? That could be it. Right. You know what I mean? And you got to be okay with it, because I got a little sister I got to watch after. You know, I started having kids at 17, 18, like boom. Like, so it was just a crazy, crazy experience. So all of that shit I had to go through in order to put this music together. So it's just, you know, trying to mend that tortured soul.
Yeah, and the flow that you used here was totally different. You know what I mean? It was like a 5-6 syllable flip, you know what I mean? And it just flipped beautifully, you know, fantasized morbidly, conflicted morally, looking for outs. I'm just looking to numb. Many vices, so looking for one, take all this rain away, bring back the sun, fighting for custody. And I was like, ooh, I'm there too.
Bring
you know
back
what I mean?
My son, right?
Yeah, I was like, you know, I relate. You know what I mean? But you said, all I got is this paper, this pen, write what I've been through to keep you amused. Repost and retweet, don't read your reviews. How can you judge if you've never been tried? That's flip right there.
I see now. See, I think that line. How can you judge if you've never been tried? How?
Mm-hmm.
The balls of you, right? How are you gonna look down on me
Right.
if you've never been here, right? You've never walked this walk, right? So a lot of people, you know, who like it kind of even touches on it on the reflection song, or maybe Walk Amongst the Gods. Like you, where I'm from, you're telling me that this is cool. You couldn't even come. You know, like the people that are in position now to tell me that my shit is cool, you could not have even come to what inspired this shit. That like you couldn't have come around here. You know, you couldn't have hung here. And you telling me, oh well, that's cool, but not as cool as this or that. What the fuck? Are you serious? Like
Right.
you have no say so. You know, it's just wild. It's just wild. So the people that do get it and the people that do understand it, and that's what I was gonna say. The fact that you're a writer, you are a writer. You look at the words. You know who is really crafting some shit and not just saying some shit. Because you're a writer. So when you see the words black and white, fuck how he said it, fuck how he delivered it. These words, you can't deny the words. Right, so that's why your approach to it and your analysis of it is needed. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, they lack that. Like they're hearing this shit in passing. Oh shit, I got a deadline. Let me listen to it as I drive into the office.
Right. Yeah, which is obscene though. It's obscene shit. Let me show the listeners something that I talk about a lot. I started to say this. When I describe things, it's because I'm trying to show someone's greatness and it doesn't have a category or people are dismissing them. You know, one of my favorite pieces I ever wrote, though, it'll be in my Dark Ages. I don't know if it'll be in that book, Dark Ages book, but it'll be in some book. But I wrote a piece about Tupac because people complain about Tupac. He's not good. And I said I consider Tupac the most unique GOAT candidate ever. So I consider him a GOAT candidate. But if you go by categories, there's so many categories he's low in,
Okay,
right?
I got you.
But there's so many categories that he's the only one in it.
Yeah, how about that?
Right? You know, like if you look at it like that, you know what I'm saying? And that's why sometimes I use a different format because Jizz is a GOAT candidate. But there's a lot of categories he's not up high in, but there's categories that he defeats anyone that, or you can only match up with him. You can only be as great as him on certain things. Yeah. You know? So all this stuff about people got it really fucked up. Like that we're doing art here. These are individuals and art. You know what I mean? And there was a thing I said about Tupac. People were saying, oh, he's not an MC. And, I'm from Brooklyn, though. So, I get all the shit, though. I was like, because I don't consider Big a GOAT candidate. I consider him, he could be a legend. He's a great MC. But he didn't show enough. And he didn't have the content. To me, there's reasons, right, that I don't, and I understand if people do. But Tupac had things that were so unique. And one of the things I was describing, and I had to make a kind of name for it, was like this visualization technique that he used. And I described it to using Nas as well, right? The visualization technique is when, to me, that I described, right, is that when an MC is using something visual, right, they're either describing something that is real or a certain feeling to give you an emotional trigger that places you in the spot. And I was saying that I gave the example of Nas because, split the phlegm on the street, right? Yeah. We all know what line that is. That's how much, He doesn't really use much more detail in that song. But for some reason, whenever we heard it, though, we're on the concrete. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the trigger, the visual trigger.
You know everything. You know the whole scene.
Yeah. And Tupac, my example was... when he said, there was a line he said, I forgot, I think it was on Me Against the World. He goes, feels good putting money in your mailbox when the rent's due. Yeah. And the visualization is at the fucking mailbox. Not everybody pays their rent by mailbox anyway, so it doesn't always relate. But it was the feel good because you know what it feels like. Yo, I got a home for another month because that's what it's about. Like, and you get the emotional trigger. Yeah. Rasheed, your music has both at the same time. You're using both triggers. So like when you go on seance and you said, I'm out Coachella watching the windmill spin, thinking about all the places that my black ass been. Wow. It's almost like you use the visual trigger of Coachella and the windmill.
It's a fact, though.
And then the exclamation that you gave. Wow. I was like, yo, this motherfucker did both of them in the same song. And the way you kept, you trigger through the whole thing. This thing that I was calling, and I'm saying it's like some rare breed. It's like the way that you rhyme. And so we're always inside the thing. You do it constantly where you describe these things that are particular, and we're already in there. So I didn't live in the projects, but every time you do that shit you do with Project City, I think about projects I've been in.
Yeah.
All the projects I've been in that I was like, oh wait, how the fuck do we get out of here?
Yeah.
Or getting lost in the projects and knocking on the wrong fucking door because this all looks the fucking same if you never lived in the project, you know? And you forget the fucking number. Was it fucking 26W? Was it 26L? I don't remember anymore. You know?
Yeah.
And the maze of it all, the hell of it all, the everything like that. You do that kind of seance is such a beautiful way to end the album. You know what I mean? And it ends as just being this all these visual triggers. You know what I'm saying? And then you also had these lines that I just want to ask you to build on it because it's such a great line. Seldom enjoy the moment because I live for tomorrows. It's wild how my trauma play. Why would someone that plans only for tomorrow or doesn't really, has difficulty living in the moment or enjoy the moment, not living in the moment, but enjoy the moment, why would you consider that like a trauma play or attach it together?
Because like I said, like living how I lived for so long, it was only about the moment. Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's wild now that I've lived past those moments and still my trauma plays out that way. Right. So a lot of people ask me about like, this is probably the most celebratory of myself that I've ever been on records because it's like, it's always about the next thing. Like it's always about what's coming next because I don't really like that wow on Reflections or, started however I put it where it ended with from Hot 9 and Shade 4 or 5 Central Park Summer Mercedes debuted in 2009. Wow, like I'm a decade in. Like it's like wow, like that moment is the moment that I sat and thought about that. Mm-hmm. So as those things are happening, I'm not taking moments to reflect on wow, I just did Summer Stage. Or wow, I just did Red Bull Music Academy. Or wow, I just did the Rocksteady. No, because it's like I'm not where I want to be. So it's about the next thing. And so like with seances, it's not just the conjuring of dead people, but it's dead feelings, and it's all of that comes through on that particular record. That's why I end the song with the line that I say like you could be happy or great, but you can't have both. So. Is really coming to a reckoning, is really coming to the only reconcile is you have to choose.
Yeah, that line has been fucking me up for a while.
Quite a few people hit me about that.
You know what I'm saying? And I was thinking about that because I was telling you that, I when I do an interview, I study that artist for the whole week. So I listen to him more than anything else, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, wait, it's my daughter's birthday and I'm happy. I don't want to listen to somebody that's like work and stuff, but I really enjoy. So let me see if Rasheed Chappell's ready,
If it's available.
Yeah, because it fits. And so it was perfect, and I had a great time in the weekend. You know what I mean? But even though none of my kids want to hear Rasheed Chappell, though,
I got you.
It's really whack, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But my kids don't want to hear Rasheed Chappell, so it's cool.
Yeah. No. It's OMG Dolls and BTS. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With my oldest, it's BTS. But this idea, right, of the happy and great, I was thinking about that because, I talk about it. When I write all the things I've done, I feel like I've proved to be in the upper echelon of any journalist in hip-hop history, anybody. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's enough greatness. At least, you know what I mean? But then I have my children, I am happy. But then I was also thinking, like, wait a minute, but I've had to struggle every single moment to see these kids. So I live as a non-custodial parent, right? So my 2 children from 2 different mothers, I don't really live with them. And 2 children that I love, they never really are coming to my home. They're always going to be visiting me.
How about that?
You know what I'm saying? And I'm the father.
How about that?
I'm their father, but they're always visiting me. And that, a lot of people don't get how fucked up that is.
It's
like,
crazy.
they don't understand that.
It's
like,
crazy.
the kid is never really, with you. They're always visiting. And but that kid knows that, how fucked up that is. You know what I mean? But, so I was thinking, like, okay, then there's some credence to this line here. You know what I'm saying? Because there is some happiness that is drained for being great. You know what I'm saying? There is certain levels of sacrifice. You mentioned that there were certain things you didn't do to change. You know what I'm saying? To change. And it's crazy because people always seem to find the attributes in the artist that might be palatable for the format. Like, as you're supposed to fit the format.
Mm-hmm.
But they never say, like, yo, they still know the music industry of any kind doesn't treat anything like these are individuals, and now we have something new to put here.
No.
They should put something new to plug into this piece here.
That's it.
And it's terrible. And that's probably, I wanted to throw this out at you because as we start, you say almost a decade in, now we're in this 2nd decade, right? And I had said this, I hope it's not prophecy, but it's something I see, that because there is so much consistent, successful business, like there is a business model to how to make records independently now. It's not like how to do it or anything like that. Know how to do it now. So now I worry about the industrialization of the underground, or where the best music is. You know, where the veil that covers this renaissance, where it could be, darted in, where it could be destroyed. You know what I mean? What do you see as the pitfalls now, like making music where in this independent stage now?
I guess I would say the thing that I see as a pitfall is there's really no one really kind of differentiating between the good and the not good, right? Even though that's all subjective, you like what you like, but there's a lot of music that even in our genre that are just, and I've said this many times, I love Griselda. I love when they do it. I don't want to hear anybody else doing Griselda.
Right.
But there's so many people that are trying to emulate that formula sonically, that it just, for me, is just too much. You know what I mean? It's, I want to hear, individuals. I want it, like, even amongst the 3 of them, they're different. They don't rhyme alike, So
yeah. No like one ever confuses Benny, Conway, or Gunn. Like,
but there are people that are confused for Benny, Conway. Like, is that, you know what I mean? So, right. but not in the same crew. Right. So, other than that, I think the music is always going to be the art. As long as the love for the art is there, it's always going to have this feel to it. Like, regardless, like even in your dark ages, there were people, that were doing it. So it's just like, as far as on the business side, I hope everyone can monetize, and make a living off of this, and this becomes, profitable for a lot more people than just a few, but just to tap back on like the greatness and the happiness thing, like I don't even know, and I think I believe I'm a thinker. I don't even know how the two could exist at the same time, because in pursuit of and I want you to think about this, anytime you actively pursued your greatness, like actively, somebody was complaining about it. Someone who cared about you, someone who wanted your time, whether it be a woman, whether it be a family member, whether it be your child, you can't do both at the same time. And they don't see the reward, because it's an individual reward. Only you feel it. There's not even something that you could be like, there's guys on my team, right, that when I feel I reached the benchmark, they don't feel it. Right, they don't even see it the same way I do. Right, they're happy that, oh shit, like my man was just on Hot 97. Okay, but you don't know what that meant. You don't know what that was like not having, having 2 kids at 18, a sister downstairs, and like stealing electricity from my downstairs neighbor to listen to Future Flavors on Hot 9. You don't know what that meant. You don't know what that means, right? So for my greatness and even the lightening of the load of writing these records, what it does for me emotionally, you don't know, right? But this is my greatness. And in my pursuit of it, sometimes I have to go into solitude. In my pursuit of it, I need to be alone. In my pursuit of it, no, I'm not going to be calling you while I'm at the studio, right? Like I was married and my wife would be like, you go to the studio and yes, you don't call me when I'm at work. I'm working, right? But you don't see it the same because the reward is not a paycheck every Friday, right? So you don't quantify it the same. Right. You think I'm leaving the house because I don't want to be here. No, I'm leaving this house because if I don't do this, none of it, I can't maintain none of this. I can't work a 9 to 5. Right. So when I left the fucking corporate world and pursued me, my life has never been more crazy, but I've never been more alive. You understand what I'm saying? Like
I get it.
It's never been more crazy. Not knowing when pay is coming in, not knowing where money's coming from, but you're doing and you're creating and you're waking up and you breathe. It's fucking freedom, bro.
I definitely say, I can't really disagree with that at all.
That's crazy.
At all. You know what I mean? Because, every woman I've been with has always said, oh, you love Kung Fu more than me. Or
I do.
You love hip-hop more than me.
I do. and if we're being, I do. Yeah. And then they look at you like you're crazy. Like, yo, this was here before you.
I never would say that. I would always say that they probably will be here when you're not.
Now where I am in my life, I do. You act like no, I'm actually not acting. I'm not acting at all. Actually, that is the most important thing to me.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that I think that sometimes when we try to do it that way, what we try to do is you try to make other people great. Find what you're great at, and then you can understand, and we can coexist. That hasn't worked either.
No,
you know what I mean? Hasn't worked either, but it has worked as a teacher because I've been a teacher.
Yeah,
so
that's different.
I teach the youth. You know what I mean? But it's different. You know what I mean? That's not the same as like someone that you live with and stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah, you can be happy you're great.
You know, and this is why, like, I'm just saying to listen to this record hits me so much. I think this is why I chose that record. You know what I'm saying? Because when you don't, I said that I chose it this week because it was my daughter's birthday, the Saturday just passed. But that's why, because there's so much relevance to the way that you speak, and it seems it's for me. A lot of guys are, but you certainly are. You know what I mean? When I listen, and it's just amazing stuff. The expertise is just mind blowing. 15 Minutes from Queens. There's no concentration of depth that you hear, of quality, all that you hear in a record this short. You know what I mean? There's only like 1 or 2 records this year that are like that. Definitely, I definitely would have to put in the same league as, like, you know, Spit Gems. Part of my poetry is like 4 songs, and you know, Gems is a poet too. You know, all the poets, you know what I mean, that you're up there with, you know, just beautiful stuff. Then you made Checks and Balances, 38 Special. But before we go in there, I have to bug you about one thing. Okay. You know I'm going to bug you. The listener may not have caught it, but you were talking about a record that you made. Then you just started to casually make 15 Minutes of Queens. And you just made another album, you know, that I know about.
Yes.
But an album that I consider to be incredible that you asked me to write about,
yes.
And I wrote it. And to me, I see it as a manifesto because I loved it.
Yes.
I loved it. What is the deal with that record?
That album is coming out.
Okay.
It's just timing. Like it's just timing.
Well, yeah, the guy that knows silence and timing. Yeah, I don't say anything. You know,
because if you've heard the album,
right? Yes.
So you see the trajectory of everyone on that album. Mm-hmm. So when the album, it'll make more sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Definitely.
Make more sense.
I don't mention the title to anybody. I don't mention the cover. Every single part of it is dope. I was like amazed. And I don't even quote from what I wrote because I wrote some shit.
Yes, you did.
I wrote some shit because I was like, damn, I gotta fuck. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But then you just hit us off like, it seems like the records you make with 38 Special, especially the way you toast in the beginning, they have their own vibe too. Like it's its own series, you know.
It is.
Ways and Means was a great album of
Thank
2020 as well. Let's start out with the toast, this concept of trust. You know, who's in trust? Because I have Che Noir, Ransom, Planet Asia, Piece of the God,
Peace.
Mussolini, obviously the Prez 38 Special. Am I right to say Fred the Godson was part of Trust?
Yes, he
right?
was.
Remembered Imperfection, Fred the Godson.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Someone who I thought that didn't even come close to making his best records, because I thought that he rhymed way better than, because when I say Dark Ages, Fred the Godson is who I'm talking about. MCs that they were rhyming in the boxes that were given to you in the 2000s, but his later records, he doesn't need to do it like that. He doesn't need to do hardcore with the high treble and the gimmicky stuff to make it sound like it comes from the Bronx with niggas that don't dress up to date, and you know, because the Bronx be out of date and shit. You know what I mean?
Shit.
With some shit, right? But it's true, because when I take that 2 Uptown, I'm seeing shit that I'm like, yo, niggas still wear this shit? I'm like, damn.
They
You know
got
what I mean?
brand new old shit on.
Yeah. And it's new. That's the whole thing.
It's brand new
I'm
old
like,
shit. It's brand new old shit.
They still got the new shit.
Yeah.
You know? But the thing is, you know, Piece of Sauce Heist, because his fashion is good. I'm just saying.
All right. Piece of sauce.
Yeah, come on. I'm not, you know, I'm not including everybody. But anyway, Fred the Godson was making some really great stuff, and it's something about Trust though, because Fred the Godson, when he rhymes slower, his voice comes out like a real tool. Like
yes.
His voice was dope.
Yes.
His voice was like read the phone book dope. Like
yes.
you could read
anything.
You know, that number was 112235. Like it was dope. You know what I mean?
Dash.
Yeah.
614. Like
yeah.
Oh, damn,
you know what
okay.
I mean? It was such a tragedy. You know what I'm saying? It was such a tragedy. You know. And the more that we learn about COVID, the more that we learn about Fauci, the more that we backtrack about what this experimental drug is, the more we learn about what the tragedy that we lived through, that we didn't have to live through completely. A lot of stuff that we didn't have to do.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? And but anyway, I digress. This Trust crew is guys on the upper tier already. You know? One of the things I said about the Dark Ages, and I say to everybody, like, and everybody pretty much their reality confirms it, whether it's Rome Streets or anybody else. Who am I thinking of? K Burns. K Burns. We're like, oh, K Burns is new, but they were doing it for so long. It's like that Dark Ages was like an incubation period for so many MCs. So like, I don't hear like slop records are like, oh, that was like cutting edge board. That's not really, shouldn't have been. There's no mistakes because everybody has been developing for so long through those years. And Trust is like that. Everybody has like a mad, long, detailed development. So you don't see anything. But tell me about the Trust crew, because you have like a manifesto to Trust on Type Time. I love that song.
Thank you.
Because that's like the manifesto of what Trust is all about. Trust more than a label, but an oath. We die before we break our word. And the memory of Fred we observe. Success is defined on our own terms. It's our life, our stories, and our own words. We want ownership. We want propriety. We're at the head of the table. Majority, no minority investments. It's 50-50 split, so accepted or rejected. As far as politics, 38 the Prez. It's the ballot of the bullet, and we coming for your head. That's the fucking whole thing.
The fact, yo, you blown me, because that record.
It's like
I almost didn't put that on the album.
Wow.
That almost didn't make the album. That was the one song where I was like, I don't know if people are gonna really understand that the Trust is so deep, right? So just this collection of MCs that we all have rapper egos, right? And so we're sitting in this room with another rapper, right? Not a label exec, but he's another rapper, and he's like, yo, if we put this play together, like this could happen, right? And so, you know, I never got a chance to I met Asia one time, I think for the I forget what album he was here for, but he had like a little birthday party or something, and I bumped into him one time. And so to be now in a room with him creating and watching how he, because I already think he's dope, and to see how he put it together is just like, yo, like this is crazy, right? Because I want to spar with everybody, right? So these top tier like rappers or lyricists, or I want to, let's see, like I'm really of that ilk. Like I want to see, I want to see. Like
and Planet Asia's top tier. I think that what he's done this last 10 years has made him a legend.
Yes,
it's just the output and the
quality
and the styles and the wordplay.
Planet Asia is incredible. He's one of the greatest, in my opinion.
Yeah,
one of the greatest MCs ever to walk the
planet
Earth.
Very few have rhymed for that many songs that well. High level.
Yes.
It's just mind blowing.
And so to be able to spar with Asia, like not just here, but when I go to LA, to come to the studio and spar with him there, and it's like, yo, this guy is because you think of your work ethic and you think of how you prepare and everything, and it's like, yo, like you always got to be on with Asia,
right,
and then just my personality, just watching songs develop and not getting on a record, because we're all there. And it's like, yo, you know what? Y'all did it already. There's nothing I can add on to this cipher. Y'all good. You know what I mean? And so just watching how things develop.
So it doesn't have like an urge, like, because, like when we hear like about studio sessions and everything, it's like this intensity where everybody's running to get in, as opposed to more like thinking about the song as opposed
to
how
I do it.
What I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's how I do it. There's certain songs, though, like I can't tell you the project that is coming out on, but there was just one particular song that when I heard the beat, I'm like, I'm getting on that. Like I don't care what you had planned, but I'm jumping on that.
People do that, right? And you're saying all this though, and I talked about my reel of 20. I say it's revolutionary because one of you niggas will bite, all fucked up, but nobody has done this where they bracket everything into these brackets. Like, for example, Rasheed is to me, an essential MCs of the era in that bracket, but you're in MCs bracket.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? You're in the boom bap bracket, but you're also in the progressives bracket. You're also in the crime rhyme street lyricist bracket. You know what I mean? Like, you're in a lot of fucking brackets because you overlap a lot of things. And Spesh, I put him in the movement cornerstone because I consider him like one of the major movements that's happening right now. Like, he is, and it's almost like, it's very Quincy-like because you don't hear his name until you ask for it. You don't really know what he's done for it, though, until they ask for it. Yeah, I did that. I did all that. Yeah. But he's not really out there going, hey, look at me. We only know the depth of Quincy because people ask about it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't out there going like,
the Bossa Nova.
And people, because people don't know how many records he actually has.
Yes. And how many other people he put into play.
Right. I mean,
I'm looking at
Brothers Johnson, Patty Austin.
Oh my God. Donny Hathaway, so many people.
Yeah,
like
the list is just ridiculous.
Because I think he recruited Rod Temperton for that project, right? To hear what he was doing with Heat Wave and be like, you know what, come work with us.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that's crazy.
Yeah, he's just mind blowing though. You know what I mean? And Spesh has that quality and it helps that you can rhyme and make beats.
Yeah, that helps.
So it helps that all the facets of song you can do. You know what I mean? And not do them like where you get like, I don't like him as this. Because his cadence though is totally different. It's very hard to hit his cadence though because it's very, very high. And almost like a high. Your pitch is high, but his pitch is high, but also aggressively high.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's very hard to I can't think of anybody that even comes like that can do that. You know what I mean? And so when he enunciates or he inflects, it's very different than anybody else. But that type time, though, if you want to know what trust is, it's that. And I was to say this, that.
So funny you talk about
no one has, like, you don't have to have been in my situation where, like, you get to see the MCs from different light or been of that poverty where even if you didn't do it like me, I didn't do the street crime, but I was poor enough to be worthy of doing it. Like, it would have been a good idea. Like,
I feel you.
It was definitely a good idea, but I didn't do, thanks to my mother, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? But, she always hit me with the morals though. So I really thought about like people dying from drugs. Like I really thought about that shit. So I didn't do it. I didn't do drugs and I didn't sell them, you know. But I also had a father that would take me to see people that would offer drugs. Say, tell him why you don't have a finger, and I'll be like totally traumatized. Yeah. He would do shit like that. Yeah. But this idea of trust, what trust does so well is that for some reason, I don't know if you guys all notice it, I might think this is a binding thing, but all of you have this way of having what I call aphoristic quotes and bars. You know, an aphorism is a saying of understanding that's written beautifully, like the Tao Te Ching or the Dhammapada. And you guys will say stuff that is like a jewel. Like you could pull it out and say, I'm going to keep that. I don't remember any of the other verse, but this shit changed my life. Ransom is filled with that. Mm-hmm. Ransom does whole songs of aphorisms. Like it's, what, you know, with that tone that he has, like, what is it? Yes. And you're like, oh shit, Ransom, you're fucking my head up though. And you have to stop the song because it's like, you know, it changes your life. And they're not just like, these ideas aren't just applicable if I'm going to be a baby Tony Montana and go out on the street. They're applicable to real life. Yeah. You do it all the time. Spesh does it all the time, but more in a punishment version, okay. Right? Asia will do it because he throws builds in there all the time. And I can imagine the ciphers of all you guys building. It must be incredible. But, and Che Noir does it too. And it has that feminine perspective that really is missing.
I think Shay, I was, for those that don't know, I just got back from LA yesterday. There was a hip hop festival out there. Shay was performing, Rome was performing, I performed, a few other people. Can't think right off the top of my head, but Shay has this energy about her where she's a real student and she's been through some real things in her life, right? Mm-hmm. So if you ever have a chance to really have a conversation with Shay, she's been through some real things. So the things that she's pulling out, and you know, energy can't be destroyed, right? It exists, it's always here. So these things that we tap into, these are universalisms, right? Right. So that we're tapping into things that the shit that I pull from, the things that she pulls from are from our lives. Mm-hmm. But the way that they're able to be put into, because all we have is the English language. I can't express it to you any other way, right? Unfortunately, I don't know French or Spanish or anything like that. I only have, you know, and I said it in the song, like I only have 10 digits and 26 letters to fucking make you see the whole world. I'm so limited, but we have to pull from all these different places. And Spesh, the thing that drew me to Spesh was he's telling street tales, but there's a sense of vulnerability where he's not super nigga, right? He's remorseful in some cases about the things that he had to do. You know, I tell it from a bit of a more poetic, I don't even know how to really describe my style other than just this is how I see it. Like I see the way I rap is how I actually see the world, you know? And so Shay does the same thing. Ransom is just very like, he's matter of fact, but it's like old wise man, like like the OG, like and it, like, but not even like an old G, but an OG. You know what I mean? Like he's not. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not. Right. He ain't been out there 50 years, but he's been around and seen so much that it's like, yo, come here, let me hip you the game. Asia just personifies, you know, from Noble Drew Ali to Master Farad Muhammad to the father, you know, just he personifies that. But like you said, the things that I teach, they have to be applicable. So I can have all this knowledge of self, but how do I use it in my environment? Right. So Asia has been able to do that, you know. So it's just so much. And like you said, the build sessions when we sit around and just talk. Fuck rap, like we're just talking.
Yeah, I imagine that.
And you hearing different people's perspectives of where they come from. You know, Spesh coming from Rochester, and Asia coming from Fresno, and Shay coming from Buffalo, and I'm coming from Jersey, and you know, it's dope.
The history is crazy. Some of the techniques I was talking about, master of the visualizing tool, this emotional triggers, fistful. Saw the world through barred windows. Imagine the life, 6 flights above the chaos, flickering lights. Fiends inside the staircases, hitting the pipes. Fight on the patio for throwing them dice. You placed everything. You know what I mean? Even the light that's fucked up. That's, you know what I mean? And changing everything. You know what I mean? So like you could picture everything. and it sets up everything. And it gives you the emotional cue because things are happening emotionally as well.
Yeah.
You know, like there's happenings. It's not just like a quick capsule. It's just I just wanted to say that. I just want to say that fistful. You know, this shit's there.
I thought on that particular record though, I'm from the Wilder era. I'm from the what I say, the Reagan era, something Wiley era, Triple Fat Goose, before the Rockefeller mandatory sentence era, the Customato Young Iron Mike Tyson era. You know, Bernard Getz on the 2 Train, Pop on the True, Eyewitness News interrupted cartoons with Larry Davis waving a tool, like all those things as a kid. You know, it just shapes you. Like how the fuck did I know that would be of use to me one day? You don't know, right? Like I never knew fucking going to my great grandparents' house and them being old my whole life. That, you know, like watching the fucking news from 5 to 7 o'clock, that those images would be some of the things that, like, well, why are they fucking with Larry Davis? What's this real story behind Bernard Getz? You know, what is the Rockefeller drug laws? Like, how does that affect me? And seeing it, like, so all of that shit, like, it's just crazy how these bits and pieces of moments, like seconds of your life, how they can influence and shape you. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the wedding bands are, by the way, a more up-tempo beat, and I loved hearing you on a more up-tempo beat. A marriage metaphor, the flows, like, whoa, he cracked stones like masons, cracked bones and basins, track phones and pages. I mean, it's just, you could see the ball bouncing, you know what I'm saying? It's almost, and then later, you did this thing, I didn't transcribe the whole thing, where you used the word made and you made it into a melody the way you were using the word made, you know, later in that verse. It's later there. If that sound is being used as a melody, you know.
I got it because there's so many rhymes. I've written 100 rhymes since that one.
But it's there, listener. It's there. You go to your toughgongrecords.bandcamp, stream that.
It's there.
You know what I mean?
Buy the last few vinyls available.
Indeed, you know, and just great stuff. Some niggas can't tell the frost from the trees until they hang it from a branch and they blood on the leaves. Money got longer, chain link got shorter, and the circle got smaller. I mean, that's such a great line.
But
you know, as you got more riches, though, you don't want to show everything. So it's like, yeah, it's just great because you could see the chain shrink. You know, like you could see it in your head. You know, and that line, I saw it before I spoke it. I read, nigga, I lived it before I wrote it. Oh,
yeah,
man,
that's my, like, a red nigga. I lived it before I wrote it. You know, so like I try to one of my closest, I call him a brother, Sugar Hill. He would say to me like, "Yo, do they listen to what you say? Because like you only draw, your imagination comes from your reality." And like, you know, like he would often, because he grew up in the building next to me. I grew up in building 45. He grew up in 24, and he always would say, like, you know, like the shit that you're talking about, like these are real. And this is the thing that I don't like. I love it, but I don't like it. Like, for people, not yourself, that are I don't know, what do you call them? They chronicle our music or whatever the case may be. They think these are like dope lines, right? Like, yo, that shit was dope how you said that. But people were really affected. Like, these are scars that I'm talking, like, so there's wounds that I'm talking about right here. So these are like real people's lives that were really fucked up by this shit that I'm talking about, right? It sounds dope to you, but somebody really had to live it in order for you to get this quote unquote dope line. You know, so to kind of just dismiss it as a rap or as a, oh, his flow on that was crazy, and not understanding like the depth of which it goes, because like, you don't, like, to be 7-8 years old, and back then we could go to the store and buy cigarettes and play pickets and shit like that, but you don't know if the fucking, because the flickering light in that and Fistful is not the light in the hallway, it's actually the light was out, so the flickering light is a lighter.
Okay,
and you're not knowing if there's a fiend in there, you're not knowing if there's somebody in there to try to rob you, you don't know what the fuck is going on. But I'm 7 and I'm getting sent to the store, and because we're on the 6th floor, it's pitch fucking black, there's no sunlight coming through. So it's like, damn, like, you know, because we always have this thing like, do you go through the front exit or the back exit? You know what I mean? And like, now you got to go to the front exit at a certain time, and then the back exit you never wanted to fuck with. So it's like you take your chance, and it's like, so it's just so much shit we had to go through. Like it's a lot. It's a lot that I haven't even really dumped into a record yet, but it's a lot.
When you don't put it, are there things you come up with that work and you don't put it in there? Like you say, oh no, I don't want to say that.
There hasn't. I've recorded everything. They may never be heard.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you know, it's just like you can't fight it. Like I've learned to not fight it anymore. Like I had to. You know, I had an I Ching reading many years ago, and it was in relationship to a relationship. And it's like, what do I have to do to be successful in this relationship? And it was like, you got to submit. But the submission actually wasn't to the other person. It was to who I am. And until I do that, then I'll never have a partner, right? Wow. Until I actually submit to who I actually am and be who I'm supposed to be, I'm never going to find a mate. Because I'm fighting this fight of trying to be this thing for someone else when I'm not fully being who I need to be for me. And so once I got to that point with the writing, like I've in the past 3 years, I've probably recorded 10 albums, right? This has been the most productive time of my life as far as an artist. And there's this one particular project that hasn't been released yet, and I was in heavy communication with OC at the time, and it was like a life changing. It was a moment for me, and I remember talking to OC, and I was like, "Yo, like, I feel invincible as an artist. Like, I feel like I got the fucking glow. Like, I feel unstoppable. I feel like there's nothing I can't do." There's no topic I can't touch. There's nothing I can't do. And so, on the phone, like, he had this pause, and he was like, "So you figured it out, right?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You'll never have writer's block again because you know how to tap into it. You know where to go." And so I'm so, like, fucking freaked out. I'm like, why the fuck would he say that? Now I'm going to get writer's block. But there is no such thing because you're living life. As long as you're being authentic to the life, it's going to come. Like, it may not, it's going to sound how it's going to sound, right? Because that's how it needs to sound in that moment. It might not be as pretty as you want, but it's going to sound how it's supposed to sound because you need to get it out in that moment. And when he said that to me, I was like, fuck, like, holy shit. Like, and this is coming from OC, who is in my hip-hop DNA. You know, like, he's one of the few artists that had back-to-back classic albums, in my opinion. So
not arguing at all.
Yeah, so it's just like crazy. Like, yeah, this shit is well.
And definitely the when we talk about this detail of these cues, you know what I mean? When I talk about it, definitely in Project City, you know, a stellar song. You started. I love the way you started off with a random detail: single cuff in my denim. Supreme Air Force strap hang like I roam on the Iron Horse. You know, it's crazy shit. You know what I mean? Crazy shit. You know, and the whole, when you talked about the details, it's filled with details. Wash clothes on this kitchen sink, pissy elevator, and dry them on the radiator. Gods tried to elevate us. We dropped out because the school couldn't educate us. They labeled us insane and tried to medicate us with milligrams and cc's to calm us down. We kilogram and twist trees in 4 pound. That was crazy right there. The flip on that was ridiculous.
Thank you.
It is a great line, though. It is a great line.
Thank you.
Right?
Yo, so yes, I want to be great, bro. That's it.
It's great stuff. You know what I mean? And then just the cadence. You get that rhythm, that bounce on the song, you know, when he goes liquor spills, pick a pill, pick a poison, pick a hustle, pick a block, bring your boys in. You know, there's just such a great, you know,
Rolls Royces, melody. Dreams of Arnold Drummond, but more like Willis.
Scheme to stack hundreds.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, you know, there's so much quotables on this stuff. It's just great work. And then I don't know. I don't want to say it's the best, but what a kicker on the last one, the affidavit. And the one you did a video for, We Outside, the panoramic view that you give.
Thank you.
Because I think an MC like you, there are very few MCs that really give a great panoramic view, and you're one of the ones that do it. You know what I mean? and it really makes sense. You know, some people give a panoramic view, and it doesn't add up. You know, the scenes don't add up. You're like, no, that doesn't go in that room there. You know what I mean? Like they'll say stuff, and it's discombobulated, kind of. You know what I mean? But the affidavits one was great too. You know what I mean? I just love the lines there. If you get to hear it, affidavits, testimony, sour niggas right at home. He's life for his definite shit. Unholy matrimony. No bridesmaids, no bouquets. When the shots thrown, niggas catch strays.
Yeah.
Like the shots.
It could hit anybody.
That was like the bouquet that was thrown. I'm talking casket clothes. Even the pastor froze. Fucking with the coin. Get 2 coins over your eyelids. Shit. Like that old Greek shit.
Yeah.
The old Greek shit. But, you know, I wanted to ask you about a particular line here because you used the slang here, and I was very curious, just on documented purposes here, because you said black militants to black privilege. Wombs of black struggle give birth to black ignorance. And I want to ask you how you use the word black privilege, because I have said it here, and this is my claim, and I know it's true. Black privilege became a slang that Charlemagne, who is not the god, fucking bit off of Napoleon the Legend. That's a fucking fact. You read his book, though. I have his book. Yeah, I told you I collect shit. Do a search for black privilege inside the black privilege book, and you see it written at the bookends. This nigga wrote the shit at the end, and the editor said, use that, put it in the edges, and make it sync. But clever shit, it didn't get past me. Napoleon made up the word black privilege. He was using it on mixtapes for a couple of those mixtapes, right? And it was about this idea that we go through so much hell as original people that now we have the privilege of being of that ilk, like that cloth that can survive, that can go through oppression and hell. So that's the privilege. But I don't know how you're using it here.
I wear my blackness as you know how Superman has to become Clark Kent?
Right.
Like he is Superman. He then has to wear a disguise to fit in with everyone else, right? So his true self is so my black privilege is who I am. Like, so I have the privilege of being able to absorb vitamin D in a certain way. I don't have a calcified pineal gland, like, you know. So you know, like I. So it is. So that, you know, like you see how my shoulders, like, yeah. So like that's my black privilege, but it goes from the black ignorance to now having this understanding of who we are, right? So we come from, you know, all the indigenous lands, and we're trapped here for the 400 years, and now we're awakened to who we are. And then at awakening is, how do we quell that? It gives birth to black, you know, but I forgot how I flipped it, you know, because it goes like, give birth to black ignorance, and we're the offspring.
Right, the wombs of black struggle give birth to black.
So now we have this knowledge of who we are, and the wounds of that black struggle to give birth to black ignorance, right? And we're the offspring, hallway posting, something sweats, Tim's with the double sole, sweats no drawstring, L roasting, cake no frosting, bras or lawyers to pay is all costing. You want to pay the price? What I say? Something you want to pay. You want to live this life, you got to pay the price. You want to chase this high, then I provide the pipe. You know what I mean? So it's like, yo, like you really want to do this? Like, okay, come on here and play. But it's all of those things. And one of the reasons why I reached out to you to do the piece, the manifesto on the yet to be named album that we won't talk about, is because I think the juxtaposition of just 2 words can paint such a vivid black privilege. Now, what the fuck is that? Right? Like what does that look like? And your mind, if you're a thinking person, it conjures up all these ideas and these words and feelings just by 2 words being placed together. And I think that's the beauty of writing. Like, I'm in love with the writing aspect of it. Like, I don't type in my phone, I write. Like, I like to see the words come together. And I did it, you know, like, someone was telling me he wanted to do like a little doc on me, and he was talking about how, like, what is the writing for? Like, it's almost vanity, because you think it in your head. Like, what are you putting it on paper for? Like, just walk into the booth. And I'm like, no, there's a process to that. Like, because it doesn't become real until it's on the paper. It doesn't become, it's not archived until it hits the paper. You know, so there's like my children could have this forever. Like this, like as long as the paper doesn't crumble and the ink doesn't fade, this existed as more than just a thought. It actually existed. Like so, like I'm a reader. Like I read. Like so, I like to touch it. I like to feel it. So that's like the writing part of it. Like when I put like black struggle give birth to black ignorance. Like what? Like what does that mean? Like yeah, the struggle. Look at all the concessions we made.
Indeed, I definitely see it. Yeah,
Like
powerful. Two works, not very long in time, but filled with quantity. You know what I mean? Filled with quality, and it's why I don't have to say like, oh man, he releases like 1,000 albums. Let me just wait till this. Like Napoleon releases great work, and I always try to find the spot where I could get all of them in. Yeah. You know what I mean? Rasheed, I just need 2 pieces, and we could have this build here that we had. You know what I mean? I consider you an essential MC, and that's really what was my goal in today's show. You know what I mean? To show the people that you're an essential MC. You are a thinker to me. You are a philosopher to me, and you are somebody that captures our reality, in a way that makes it beautiful. It makes it beautiful. And it's something that affects me. It's something that I love, and it's amazing. It's amazing to me, and I want people to be as amazed as I am, though, when they check it. And hopefully, this helps them. You know what I'm saying? Like these are your cheat notes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm amazed by it. Like when you brought up Pac saying that he's like, for me, no one that I've ever heard has articulated the black male experience like Tupac. I don't know what he does for black women when they hear it. I don't know what he does for I don't know what he does for anyone else that hears it. But for me, I think that I'm a great writer. I think I got a decent flow, but I don't think the shit that Pac was able to do on songs like This White Man's World and like the whole Machiavelli. Like I just think he embodied such a passion, and all the contradictions and all the different masks that we have to wear as black men in this country. That shit. I mean, I don't even like talking Pac to certain people.
But it to me, to sum it all up, like it really affects all the great ones after, including yourself, because it's there, Rasheed. It's there. The soul is there. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of soul music in this thing. And 15 Minutes to Queens, though, was amazing. Checks and Balances is incredible. Get these works out. They're out there. They're out on all the streaming platforms. And you do yourself a favor, you know what I mean, by getting these records. You can sit down with them, be amazed at them. You know what I mean? And you get your bench press on with them, too, because I did that shit, too. So
quick.
You know what I mean?
Super set.
But until the next time, there'll be a lot more stories to tell, writings to recite, and records to rewind and reminisce. For my guest, the god Rasheed Chappell, an essential MC of this invisible renaissance, that means all time. I'm your host, Sunya Zala, a.k.a. Skillustrator Low, and as always, the Power Right Show is a never respect fake broadcast. Peace.